take and everything like that, right? So one of the questions that before I even get into it, some of you guys that don't know Max, it's crazy if you don't know him. Max is multi world champion, multi national champion, current dominant by far in terms of carry optics. There's nobody close. Let's just put it that way. Nobody even close. It's scary, right? It's unfair almost. It's kind of like picking on little kids. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to blow him up too much, but basically it's the truth. Max and I have known each other for so damn long. 99, Max, right?
Yeah, 99.
And the crazy thing is, him and I have stayed freaking really close and good friends ever since. I would say, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one thing a lot of people don't know. Like, they don't. I don't know. Maybe people do, maybe people don't. But I think that people don't know how good of friends we actually are. You know, and how long we've been together as friends. And I think between my dad and your dad, if we didn't stay close and didn't stay as boys, they would probably beat us pretty good.
It's crazy how a friendship can stay so close and so good together and never have any kind of drama. Like, we met, Max and I would have some disagreements, but never had drama. It's crazy, right? And then here he is years later, and we're still just as close. He's one of the only instructors that I actually teach and work with. Just like him, very picky in terms of who we work with and stuff like that. But anyway, Max, you want to say anything else before we get started?
No, man, I appreciate the intro. That was pretty nice of you, dude. But I mean, you know, obviously I've been doing this a long time. I love what I do, and you're one of the guys that, you know, not only one of my friends, but you're one of the dudes that I look up to. And if I had somebody that, you know, I was going to send my kids to go train with, you're one of those very few dudes that are on my list, man. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here and help out with your guys.
Dude, super awesome. Dude, I just scanned through the comments. It's crazy. People are going nuts. People saying Max is going to break the IG and all that stuff. You've overloaded it and stuff. I just got tons of hearts and stuff like that on my screen. I don't know if you see that, but
yeah, cool.
all because of you, man. I was that head just right.
I waxed my head today for y'all.
All right, first question, Max. It's gonna be a good one. First question: when did it click for you, both mentally and physically? And did you just keep pushing till failure in matches?
I guess, you know, I would say it probably clicked. I mean, the more you win, the easier it gets. I'll just say that. You know, the first time you win a national championship, then the rest of them, I wouldn't say they're easy, but they're so much easier than the first one, you know, because you're mentally in a state where you believe in yourself at that point because you have the previous data. So I would say for me physically, it took me a little while to get where I wanted to be because I started really young. I was 8 years old when I started shooting competition. But by the time I was probably 15, I was winning some local level major matches, like state matches. But then, you know, once you start getting to that national level, you know, you have to remember like the late 90s, probably late 90s, you know, right around that time, Ty Jarrett was super dominant. Travis Tomasi was another dude who was super dominant. So I was coming in at a time when these guys are so technically correct that everything that I would do on the range, I would be way faster than them, but I was not consistent at all. So I would win some stages, but I would always be second or third at a match. In other words, I was like, you know, top 10 in the nation, but I was never the guy that could win it. And then just for me, man, you know, I joined the Army shooting team back in '99. And my first little bit of time there, I was very much self-taught. We didn't have a coach at the time. So I had to just go out there and grind and work every day and try to find ways to be better. And one of those ways that I found was through the mental aspect, working with some of the guys at West Point and trying to understand the mental process of what makes us tick, really, what makes us kind of get into the zone. I mean, everybody have seen, you know, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, those guys, man, when they get in the zone, they are fierce and they can't miss. Like, the goal looks this big, you know? So I was trying to find ways to put me in that zone. And I would just say this, you know, it took me some time for the physical aspect to get going, but it takes even longer for the mental aspect. And for me to be able to do it, I needed to look at myself and truly believe that I was the hardest working dude on the range, period. Like, I couldn't go to the range and look across the range and say, man, that's Ty Jarrett. Man, that's Jerry Barnhart. Man, that's Doug Koenig. How can I compete with those guys? If you don't have a shot if it's that way, right? But I never could fake it. Like, I had to truly believe it. And for me, I just had to work twice as hard as everybody else. And that made me feel comfortable. That gave me confidence. And that allowed me to win.
So that leads me to like my next question, right? It's kind of a follow-up to that. I kind of feel and relate to a lot of what you're saying. We could say all day, oh, I'm the greatest and all this stuff, but unless you really put in the work, you can't really fake that walk. You got to walk the freaking walk, right? You got to put in the reps and all that stuff. So to you, when did that start happening that when you stop walking into ranges and going, oh my gosh, I'm in the super squad. Oh goodness gracious, that's Todd Jarrett. Holy cow, that's Rob Latham. And I'm shooting against them. I'm actually beating them. When did that start happening? Or what was it more like what I did where I was like, geez, this Rob Latham. And when I started shooting, I'm like, holy cow, I'm either keeping up or beating him. I think I'm leading right now. And it was one of those, like, I think I'm even right now. I'm where I need to be. Was it something like that?
Yeah, for sure. So it was probably 2000 because in 99, I didn't go to the Nationals. I was in basic training. And in 2000, when I went to the Nationals, when it was all said and done, I was 3rd overall. And I was like, dang, like, I'm one of the dudes who can win this thing now. Like, that's when it first hit me, right around 2000. So probably 10 years into my shooting career at that point, I felt like I was good enough to compete. I wasn't good enough to win, but I felt like I had an opportunity to compete. And in fact, I went into the last stage and I could have won it. Like, I was within 5 points between me, Barnhart, I think Todd Jarrett, and Henning Wahlgren actually back then too.
Ooh.
So dude, we were all right there, and I had a chance to win it. I just needed I needed one good stage. That was it. And of course, I fell apart because I wasn't mentally ready for that. But dude, you put me in that situation now, I'm probably going to win it 9 out of 10 times because I'm capable and ready to accept that type of, I wouldn't call it pressure because I'm ready to absorb that kind of information of overload of like, oh my God, this is about to happen. But yes, I would say like for me, it was in that point when I realized, all right, I need one good stage out of 20 and I can win this match right now. That gave me the confidence to believe in myself that all the work that I have been putting in at that point has been working, and I'm just going to keep working. Because at that point, and I was young, man. I was probably, 19 years old, 20 years old. I mean, I had a lot of growth potential there still to go. I mean, mentally, I was starting to be where I wanted to be, but I needed more consistency. So I would say for me, I flipped that switch on right around 2000.
Yeah. Hey guys, don't get this wrong, right? Max and I kind of had like similar upbringing and father. Now we're family. We're fathers and all this stuff. We're husbands and all that. And we had early successes in our career early on. Like we'd have like a tease of making a top 3 in nationals, a tease of top 2 at area matches, like literally just a % away from like Jerry Barnhart. But it wasn't until we started, like we even won some of those during our early careers. And it was just that what we didn't realize, or what we realize now, is that was when work just started for us. That was when development and realization just started working for us. And kind of one of those things that as the more you do it, like you said, Max, mentally, you just got stronger. You became confident and you believed in yourself. And one of the most interesting things was when you and I had this conversation, I thought I was special. I was like, I'm the only one that kind of does this. I was like, maybe someone else does. You and I were having a conversation at Magnus Cup because you and I actually shot together for the first time in a very long time. And the whole way through, I would say something like, oh man, I think I dropped 15 points. And you were like, yeah, I'm about 20 points behind where I would be right now. And I remember thinking, going, holy shit, this guy's doing exactly what I was thinking, because I'm trying to shoot against myself. If I'm doing good, I'm going to be within 50 points of my best self. And you were saying the same exact thing. Yeah. And I'm like, holy cow. So can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, and that's funny for sure. Because I think even whether if you're at the top of the game or not, I think you're competing against yourself. Like, I can't control what JJ does. I mean, you're the best in the world at what you do. And if I want to put on an open gun and go compete against you, I can't hope that you fall. I can't hope that your gun jams. I can't hope that you make an issue, because I can't control any of that anyway, right? So all I can control is myself. So I try to look at it this way. When I go to a match, if I'm a new shooter or a world champ level shooter, I need to control what I can control. So I want to shoot my best performance. So let's just say, for instance, if I think on this course of fire, my best performance would have been 10 seconds, and I'm not going to say all these. Let's say it's a 100-point course of fire. Let's say I drop 3 Charlies and I'm shooting major, so I'm down 3 points. What can I have done to make that run better? So let's say, just for easy math, let's say it's a 10 hit factor, meaning points per second. So let's say, okay, maybe I had a hesitation leaving a position because I thought a piece of steel was falling, but it wasn't. I had to go back and shoot it again, so an extra shot, or I had a bad reload, whatever it was. I added all this up and I thought, okay, maybe I lost about 1.25 seconds to myself. So that means I lost about 12 points on the stage. And let's say I dropped 6 Charlies, for instance, and I thought I should have dropped 3 Charlies. So I lost 12. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
I had somebody calling in. Sorry, man.
Okay. They're rude. They're rude.
Let's say I lost 12 points on time, and I lost maybe 3 points on point. So that's why I come to the realization of, hey, I lost 15 points to myself. Now, if you want to beat me or somebody else wants to beat me, they got to shoot pretty damn good if I'm within 15 points of myself. But that's kind of the mindset that I have is like, look, I can't control what anybody else controls. I can't frustrate myself if I'm not saying you, Jay, but I'm saying there's other people on the squad that sometimes get deltas when they should be misses. They get doubles sometimes when they should be misses. You can't control any of that stuff, and it just makes you angry and it eats up at you. So the only thing you can control is what is your performance. So I just look at it like this. Hey, my best scenario would have been to run that stage a second and a quarter faster and to drop 3 less points. So best case, I lost 15 points to myself, and I do that every stage. And by the end of the match, if I'm within 90 to 95% of my ability, closer to that 95% range, dude, if I'm within 95% of my best, you got to shoot real good to beat me. And so that gives me a lot of freedom. I can make mistakes. I'm not worried about making mistakes. I can shoot a mic no shoot. A mic no shoot's only 2.5%. That sucks. I don't want to do it, but I'm not going to be so pissed like I used to be when I was back in the day. I would go kick rocks and look at the mountains and get so angry. It's not the end of the world. That's only 2.5%. I can lose 5.5% or 6% and still win the match, and I know that, and that's how the mindset that I'm going to keep throughout the match.
That's so awesome, guys. For some of you guys, that what he's saying, that it's basically what Max is basically, to me, the way I understand it and the way I apply it is that I go in a match shooting about 95 to 97% of my skill set, like where I'd like to be. And if I am within 95%, within 5% of what my best day could be, I'd feel really comfortable. So what that leads is the mentality of being able to accept and not be afraid of mistakes. So you kind of just shoot your own game and take a little bit less pressure, because there's already enough drama and pressure shooting the match, especially when you're shooting within Super Squad. There's a lot of drama, especially nowadays, certain things that people say on the internet and all that stuff. And so it builds up and leads up to the match and all that stuff. So it's a really cool thing, because mental strength and mind game is a very big thing for our sport. Physically, we can train. Like I train 6 days a week. I just can't shoot as much. But I do train physically as much as I can, and now, I dry fire and all that stuff, but I just can't shoot as much. Whereas some people can shoot a little bit more, work out a little less, and their shooting's a little bit more on par with their timing and all that stuff. All that comes together at the end in the match. It's just all about execution, and then whoever can handle less pressure, I guess, or clear mind. That's what it really boils down to. So, Mac, that's awesome, man. You want to add anything to that before I just ask you the next cool question?
No, I would just say, look, the only thing I would add to that is, if you want to get the best performance, we're talking mentally, we're talking, trying to surround yourself with the right type of people. You got to stay positive. For me, I try to surround, if you guys that are watching this feed right now, you probably see the type of guys that I shoot with all the time. JJ is going to be on my squad. Travis Tomasi, Shane Coley. There's certain dudes, Blake Maguez, there's certain guys that are going to be on my squad all the time. And it's not by accident. It's because I choose to surround myself with the type of people that I want to associate with, that are going to lift me up and not bring me down. I don't want any negativity. I don't want to have to deal with any of the BS. I just want to have fun, because if you have fun, you're going to do well. And if you do well, you're going to have fun. So I would just recommend surrounding yourself with the right type of people, keep your circle small, and just stay humble. That's one of the most important things too.
Damn right. Stay freaking humble. We've been doing it for a damn long time. You could go out there, and man, you could go out there and do all types of crazy stuff and say all types of crazy stuff, and it would be all right because you've done it all, right? But you don't. You just don't. What for, right? You support the sport. Man, I got 10% left on my battery, so this is gonna die quick.
This guy.
I'm gonna have to switch over, but dude, I'm sorry. Things were crazy this morning. All right, but anyway, next question, Max. How do you prepare leading up to the match? Let's say this is like a 3-part question. Let's say you're about a month away from the match.
You're freezing up there.
You there? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, what happened there?
I don't know. I think it froze.
All right, did you get my question?
No, so all I heard was there's a 3-part question leading up to a match. What you got?
All right, so let's say you're a month away from the match. What are you doing? You're heading up to the range. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I think at that point, if I know what's going to be at the match, I'm going to start kind of addressing my training plan based upon what type of stages I think will be there. If I'm lucky enough to see what the stages are online, I might start digging through some of that stuff and saying, okay, these are the start positions, these are the arrays that I want to work on, things like that. But if I don't know, then look, if I'm going down to South Florida, I know what type of matches Shannon Smith runs. I'm going to train accordingly. If I'm going on the West Coast, I know what type of matches they have, so I'm going to train accordingly. So I do my best to focus on, doing my homework, knowing what to prepare for. But yeah, a month leading up to the event, I'm going to be working on what I call my non-negotiables. That's my stance, grip, draw, reloads, transitions, really focusing on, I wouldn't say the fundamentals, but I would say the essentials of speed shooting, and trying to push myself, trying to get better, right? It's okay to make a mistake a month leading up to the match. I want to find that kind of threshold and say, whoa, that's it. Let me pump the brakes right there. But before I do, let me push a little harder and see if I can't make myself see a little faster and figure out, why am I breaking down? What are the problem areas? I don't just want to say, man, I shot 3 deltas and 2 charlies on that course of fire because I went too fast. Well, I want to figure out where the breakdown was. Where was the disconnect? Was it in my stance and grip? Was it in my vision? Was it in my entries and exits? Those are the kind of things, and then I can dissect those leading up to the match.
So here's the cool thing about that, right? I just want to add, Max, and correct me if I'm wrong. Max there used the result of his run to break down and basically focus on the process that needed to become a successful run, right? So instead of focusing on the result, like I did bad on that, I got to do better. No, that's in the future. I got to do better. I don't know what's going to be there, but what made me suck at this moment in time, what I just ran? What made me suck? Was it, like you said, my visual, my trigger, my sights, my grip, my stance, whatever? Was it my positioning? Then you connect that and you make that change. You make like 1 or 2 changes, run it again, and then obviously you're gonna start seeing some sort of improvement and stuff like that. But by using the results, not focusing on it, using the results to be able to break down what you need to break down and essentially move on. All right. Do you have anything else to add before we move on to the second part?
Let's go.
Second part question. Let's say you're 2 weeks away. Does it change for you?
2 weeks away?
Yeah. 1 to 2 weeks away.
Yeah, okay. So now I'm 1 to 2 weeks away. I'm still doing some homework. I'm checking to see what type of weather they have at the event. How else I might be able to prepare. I'm trying to get any details. I'm starting to text friends who might live in the area. Hey, did you swing by the match, or did you see the stages yet? So I'm trying to get some information so I can just get some last minute training in. But at that point, I'm going to start dialing it down and try to start creating more consistency in my shooting, as I get closer to the match, because I don't want to go there like this wild child, like I used to be back in the early days. And I would, run a course of fire 1.5 seconds faster than everybody, every stage, but I would be, double. I remember, I'll never forget one time I shot a match and I was shooting with Ty Jarrett, and I crushed his time on the stage, and I dropped, I think it was like 27 points, but I didn't have a miss. It was just 27 points down. And he was like, "God damn, Lil Mac, I didn't know you could drop 27 points and not have a miss. What the hell wrong with you?" And I'll never forget it. But anyway, I don't want to go back to that. So I start working on my consistency and performance of being able to perform on demand within that 90 to 95% of my ability. If I can approach 95% or better, I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to go 110% speed. And I want to start kind of, making sure I'm doing the right thing and seeing the right things, being technically correct in my training.
Awesome. Max, I'm gonna ask you it's kind of an off topic, but you bring it up a lot, right? And then I've seen it asked here a couple times already before I ask the last question. Basically, how do you know what's 95%? How do you know what's 100%? How do you develop that, basically?
Yeah, for me, it's all visual. If I can't see, then it's too much. So if I can't see,
so awesome.
if I can't see and process,
yes,
I'm out of control. And if I'm out of control, I will not be consistent.
Preach it, Max. Oh, I'm getting so excited.
But for me, it's like, if I can't see it, there's no way I can duplicate it. There's no way I can be consistent. So if I'm going at a speed in which I cannot process the data, I'll never be able to compete with a guy like you. And if I want to go to your level, if I want to get to your level, if I'm somebody watching this feed right now and I say, man, I want to shoot as fast as JJ. If you try to shoot as fast as him, you're talking about saving hundredths of a second in actual trigger speed, right? And if you beat him, if you try to go up to his speed, like you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to shoot, he shoots a 15 split on average, I shoot a 20 split on average, I want to shoot 15 splits, so I'm going to shoot 500ths of a second faster. There's 10 targets, guess what? You just saved a half second, big deal. But now you've asked yourself to shoot 30 or 40% faster than you're capable of shooting. But guess what? He's at his 95% speed. You can't compete. So if you want to be able to go at that speed, you have to put in the work and the time of the most boring stuff you've ever heard of, stance, grip, and really focusing on the fundamentals of what you're seeing. If you want to see faster, you got to have a better recoil management process. So for me, when do I know if I'm outside of that zone? When I come off of the stage at Smoke and Hope and I shot a run on Smoke and Hope and I say, dude, I didn't see anything but the last shot. That's all I saw. That was too fast. that was a Phil Strader run on Smoke and Hope. So
that's awesome, man. It's what I say, right? It's not like, oh yeah, you got to go practice and see what your 100% on a 4-target array is. You don't know what that's going to be on a match. Like, things change in a match. I tell guys all the time, I could shoot literally in the morning, like 10 a.m., and then shoot a match in the afternoon. And my gun, the first time I pull that gun out on that first stage, will feel a little different. My performance will be a little bit different because certain things change. My pressure, what I see in terms of visual, because I'm nervous and all that stuff, or the pressure is there, whatever, right? I don't like using the word pressure, but not here. That's neither here or there. But it's all what I see. It's all how fast and what I'm processing. If I'm going a little too reckless, I like that word, reckless. It's barely clinging on to a hit on target. And so well, I walk out of the stage going, holy cow, I don't really know what just happened, but I think I had a fast time. And that's when you talk about, like, you drop like 13, 15, or sometimes 27 points and not having, like, right?
It's easy to do in minor, by the way, but that was in major, so that was hard to do.
All right. So anyway, here's one of the last question. The day of the match, what is your mindset and how are you prepping yourself to it, if there is any more prep left?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still work to be done when you get to the match. So I have before matches, during matches, and after matches, I have a mindset and a prep and kind of a post-match thing that I do. And when I'm at the match, it's super, super important, number one, to make sure I eliminate the fear of the unknown. So I go to the range, I meet the staff, I sign up early, I do all my check-ins, I do whatever I can do to avoid being late or getting to the range late and feeling like I'm scrambling, right? Because I don't want to have any of that additional anxiety, because typically when anxiety goes up, performance goes down. So I don't want to have that issue. So I'm trying to do all the work ahead of time. And then the day of the match, like I said before, it's making sure I'm early, making sure I'm surrounding myself with the right type of people. And I'm in a mindset that I'm happy, I'm positive. I've already checked with the wife and the kids and everybody's good, so I can focus on what I have to focus on at that time and take care of business. I mean, I might check on them every now and then, but for the most part, I make sure the things that may affect me in mental mindset and may affect my kind of attention at the match, I'm going to try to make sure that's all taken care of ahead of time. And when I get to the range, man, it's just about having fun and enjoying myself and surrounding myself with the right people. And then shooting within my capabilities at that point. I don't care about speed. I don't care about, the time. I don't care about what anybody else's scores are. For me, it's just carrying and preparing for that one performance that I have next, the next stage, the next shot, the next target array, whatever it is, just really, truly focusing on what's going to allow me to get the best result. And look, we're not all
being in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, and look, we're not all perfect. Like, there's times when, I might take a peek and be like, damn, that was a good run that Jay had. What am I going to do here now? Like, we're all human, right? And so I'm not going to say that I don't notice other people doing well, but I have to do my very best to stay on track and really focus on the things that I can control and the things that are going to make me better. And I know in my own heart, if I'm on time, because I'm already prepared. I've already put in all the work. I can't do anything else for the match that's going to make me better. A wise man once told me, you are who you are when the buzzer goes off. You can't do anything about it. When the buzzer goes off, I can wish, I can hope, but shooting is not like football and these other sports that, I can will it more, I can want it more, I can push you on the line of scrimmage a little harder. When the buzzer goes off, it's all on me. I'm by myself. I have a lot of awesome companies that are behind me, supporting me, and a great family that support me and pay all these sacrifices to allow me to be the guy holding the trophy at the end of the day. But nobody's there holding my hand when the buzzer goes off. It's all on me. And the work is already done. So the only thing that I can do at that point is focus on what is going to be, what's going to allow me to be successful. And I choose to decide to focus on where are my sights in relationship to the target at all times. If I can focus on that, I know my times are going to be fast enough, probably the fastest or one of the fastest. And man, I'm going to be super consistent and I'm going to do it for 20 stages.
The coolest thing is that you and I teach a lot, obviously, right? We've taught together a lot of times already. We get asked a lot to basically they don't want to take the level 1 class because people feel like they're insulted. They always want to take the advanced class, and really, and ultimately, there's really no advanced shooting. It's just fundamentals and basic marksmanship applied in a very efficient manner. And there are a lot of techniques how to do that, how to manipulate yourself in the stage, how to draw correctly, how to reload correctly, all that stuff, transition correctly, all that. But all that stuff literally is the basic marksmanship and our fundamentals. What you just said, all you care about is what you see in your sights and how you pull in the freaking trigger.
Yeah, man, I think that's very well put, man. So, yeah, I mean, there's really no, as you know, there's really no, advanced shooting skills. There's just advanced applications of the fundamentals. So whoever can run the gun fastest and still hit the A zone is a dude who's going to win every day.
Yep. All right, Max, last question. I'm not going to ask you all these other questions.
We got part 2 on Friday.
Oh, we do. We do have part 2, guys. Stay tuned. A lot of guys are asking, like, hey, is Max going to be asking you? No, this is just the way I decided to run this because I wanted Max to download information. I'm taking freaking notes. I got my phone here, like, on record. So I'm sitting. No, basically, I'm not going to ask you, like, what would you do if you were 10 points up going to the last stage? Because you and I might be in that situation. I'm not going to have to share that kind of information. No. But here's one thing. One of the things that you and I did one time, it was Max Pro Shooter Experience. If you guys haven't done that, you guys got to experience it. It's phenomenal. Max and Jen does a phenomenal job setting that up. I didn't know what I was walking into the first year. And, man, this is what, our fifth year now together?
Yeah, man.
Holy moly. It is amazing. I have a blast. I mean, you can see my energy on that if you guys have ever taken it. But anyway, that's getting sidetracked. One of the things that I was asked, and is always asked of me, I'm sure you get the same thing, is visualization.
Yeah.
And I remember one time we were teaching a class together, and I remember I was like, I'm going to give you guys my answer now to the class, to the group that I had. And I said, don't say what I said. I'm going to have Max and Travis say this. I'm going to ask them the same question, and I'm going to see what they say. And remember what it was? It was basically like A through freaking C was the same exact thing between you and I, right? So I'm going to ask you that to share with everyone here, if you don't mind sharing that.
Sure.
Visualization.
Yeah, I mean, I think visualization is extremely important, for me. And I think everybody here probably uses it, whether they know it or not. I use it in business. I use it in life. I use it in everything. And really, shooting has helped me get to that point. But what happens within the visualization process is your brain essentially is the hardware, right? And whatever you're trying to do or trying to accomplish is the software. And I'm trying to download that software onto the hardware, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not a computer guy, but I'm trying to give you an analogy and to say that for me, I'm trying to download and process whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish. I'm doing so over and over and over again in my head, and I'm doing it very successfully. I'm seeing things clearly. I'm seeing things vividly. I'm seeing the brass fly out. I'm seeing the gun operate. I'm seeing the dot lift. I'm seeing myself looking at a specific spot I want to come into a position on and the gun coming up on time. I'm seeing all the smallest minute details. So that way when I go to it in live fire, my brain doesn't know the difference if it was pre-programmed or not. It doesn't know if I ran it 100 times or no times. So by the time it's time to go for real, I can just simply sit back and just click the autopilot button and it just goes. And I think all of us go on autopilot when the buzzer goes off, whether we like it or not, whether you're prepared or not. And whatever you prepare for is what you're going to see. Sometimes we come off the line and we say, man, I could have did that better. I could have did this better. Not really. That's what you were prepared to do. Like, could you do it better if you had 100 times? Yeah, you can maybe get a better run. But if you get one chance and one chance only in a course of fire, then the way to operate that is to make sure you prepare as best as you possibly can. I'm not asking you to be one of those squad mates that don't tape, don't set steel, don't help others. I need you to do all those things. But while you're doing those things, why can't you be walking around with your eyes closed thinking about the entry on this position or the target array on that position or how the swinger is going to come from right to left versus left to right, how that might look and how you're going to track it. These are all these things visually that if we don't focus on, we will pay the price when it's live fire. So for me, visualization is extremely important. I use it in matches. I visualize the steel challenge every night before I go to bed, and I typically fall asleep somewhere in between, but I visualize it because it's something very easy to visualize because it's a standardized course of fire. So it's extremely important. And again, I use it in business before any meeting that I have. Before this live event, I try to visualize what it might be like and how I can help other people to give the answers that need to be had. So for me, it's very, very important to visualize.
That's super awesome, guys. So basically just to say on top of, to kind of add on a little bit, not add on, basically just to say it in a different manner. Basically what Max was saying was that just to add as much detail as you can in your walkthrough. If you're visualizing a stage, do everything that you can to possibly get it in your system so you no longer have to think about it or there's no any surprises in it and as you run it, right? The last thing you want to do is actually try to think of going where am I supposed to go next, that split second, or what target is coming up behind this barricade. Something simple as that will screw up your run. But here's the thing, right? What Max is saying is all, it's all ingrained in his head, and a lot of his subconscious skill sets, meaning shooting, seeing the sight, presenting the gun, those all kind of take over as he goes through it. The only thing that's new on every match is basically how the targets present itself and the movement, how we move from stage to stage, the choreography. But shooting the target is the same thing as if he was shooting back home. So that's all he's focusing on. He's not really necessarily thinking how I'm going to pull the trigger on this one. He's just kind of feeling it through and seeing it according to what his information through his practice sessions and stuff like that. So it's pretty freaking awesome to hear that. And really what he was saying there was a lot better form than what I would have said it, because English is not my first language to my students. And I looked at my students, the guys were like, holy cow, that's exactly what Jay just said, just a lot better English. All right. So one thing, Max, let me ask you this one question. This came up a couple of times, and it kind of leads me to the people are talking, oh yeah, let his subconscious thought and subconscious skill set take over. I want to know, because Shane and I have had this conversation, Eric and I had this conversation, you and I have had this conversation, but not nothing like right here in an open forum. I want to know exactly what your thoughts are. Like, picture a stage that you just shot, whether good, bad, or ugly. I want you to tell me exactly what where your brain goes as you move to the next position or whatever it is. Are you thinking? Are you not thinking? I want you to take that.
During our course of fire, while I'm shooting?
Yes, while you're shooting.
Yeah, while I'm shooting, I don't think about anything. Nothing. I mean, all that visualization was the work for me. So when I'm going in and out of these positions, like somebody asked me the other day, what do I do with my breathing? And it freaked me out because I don't know what I'm doing with my breathing. I don't know. I know I'm breathing because I'm not like, dead at the end of the course. So I must be breathing in between positions, in between transitions. So just where my head is just, I've already put in all the work and it's autopilot. And it goes to the point to where when I'm done shooting, somebody might be like, oh man, you lost a little bit of time when you slipped. And I'm like, I slipped? I don't even remember slipping, So, I mean, I'm so focused on running the program in my head. I don't really think about anything else. I can only be consciously aware of one thing as a human. So I worry about where are my sights in relationship to the target at all times. And that's all I'm focused on. Other than that, for me, it's grip, sights, trigger, meaning, good grip on the gun for recoil management process, good sight picture, depending upon the distance or the difficulty of the shot, and a good trigger press, obviously whenever I need to have that as well. But, so yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not really thinking about much. I don't try to overload my brain at that point. The work is done. I just try to be consistent and repeatable and gather as much information from that dot or the site as I possibly can. Hell yeah.
Heck yes, man. That's awesome. Super awesome. That kind of goes on top of what I think it's your mentor, but he's really my mentor. Rob Latham. He's been, around. He's that big old dude who dominated the sport a long time ago. And he's still freaking good as hell at this point. Like, he's still dominant as hell, and his as old as he is and as banged up as his knees are. But he told me a long time ago, he's like, I think 2002 South Africa, and when we were there for the Worlds, he looked at me and he said, hey, listen, he goes, just remember this, don't be afraid to ever admit that you have to have more details in your walkthrough in order for you to keep it simple. And it took me a very long time what that meant. He's like, if you have to think about your footwork coming into this, doing your walkthrough and in your visualization, do it. Do it 100 times. If you're worried about this target in this corner, think about how you can successfully hit that target in terms of great details, how your sights will place on that target, how it'll move from a run, how your trigger should feel, and how the top dot should lift off. Add all those details. And don't be afraid to add that detail, because by the time you do 50 times, 100 maybe not 100, maybe like 20 to 50 times visualization prior to you running that stage, he goes, by then it will be simple. It will no longer be, this is how my sights need to be. No, there's my sights, there's my trigger. You've already seen it before you actually executed it and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool to hear you say it in a different manner, basically saying the same thing that he was saying and all that stuff.
Yep.
All right, Max. I think we can end it here unless there's something you want to add. It's been phenomenal. It's a quick 30, 40-minute live, but I think it was perfect. I think I got so many. Oh shoot, it just opened it up. Listen, I was gonna show you guys how many text messages I just got. Literally people telling me like, you and I need to start our own podcast. And I'm like, I don't know if we have time for that. Our wives will kill us if we try to do something else.
I think so. I had a 3-hour phone call earlier and I was getting the evil eye. So.
Oh, so that's great. Have you had lunch yet?
Yeah, we're good, man.
All right, awesome.
I thought good. No, it's cool, man. Hey, it was a pleasure, dude, to hang out with you and do this. I think we should do more of it. So if you could join me on Friday, I'd love for you to join me on my live Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, and we'll have you jump on and we'll finish up part 2.
8 o'clock Eastern, so that means 5 o'clock my time, yes?
Yep.
Yes. All right, so 5 o'clock my time. I will literally just be preparing dinner, so it'll be all right. I'll tell Jess it's for you. And Jess likes you, so she'll let me. She'll be like, all right, it's just because it's Max.
Okay,
but she'll be around.
All right, cool.
Max, awesome, man. Great seeing you. I'm glad to see you guys are still safe and all healthy and all that stuff. You guys in good spirits. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in, man. We had a great time. Please stay motivated, stay sharp. This thing will be over soon as long as we do our part.
Absolutely, bro.
Thank you, guys. Be safe.